is presented by Avi Mishra, but he can't come here, so we've got a video of this talk. Avi is front-end developer at iRadius, and today the subject of his talk is about creating a Volto theme.
Hello everyone. Today I will be sharing my experience, like how I created a new theme in Volto. So hi, I am Avi Mishra. So I was a Google Summer of Code 2022 contributor at the Plone Foundation, and the idea of my project was to create a new Volto theme. Secondly, like I graduated this year in computer science engineering, and currently I am working as a software engineer, primarily working on the React ecosystem. So this is the outline of my talk. So firstly, I will give you a brief introduction about my project. Secondly, I will share my experience and learning while developing the project. And lastly, I will give you a product tour of what I have developed. So introduction. So what I did. So basically I developed a new theme for Volto. So like this is the default Volto theme that comes with Plone 6, and this is the EDUCAL Volto theme that I have developed. So it has nested menus, it has different blocks that I have developed. So like all these are like basically custom blocks that I have developed. And then this also has like this event listing, which is a custom event listing. It has the pricing block, and then it has a pre-footer. So now moving on to this, how does it benefit the community? So basically Plone developers will be able to reuse this theme or a particular block for any new website that they create. Now I will share my experience and learning while developing the theme. So I have divided my coding period in Google Summer of Code into different phases. So I have divided it into 4 phases. So in the phase 1, I was trying to adapt to the look and feel of the theme. So this Volto EDUCAL theme is built as a package theme. So let's see what does it mean. So in the semantic UI, we have something called theme inheritance. So on the level 1, we have the UI default. So like this is the default style that comes with semantic UI. On the next level, we have package theme. So generally these package themes are distributed. So in Volto, we have the Pastanaga UI theme as our package theme. And lastly, we have the site theme, which are specific to a particular site. So this site theme has the highest preference, then the package theme, and then the defaults. So my Educal Volto theme is built on top of the Pastanaga theme. So what I mean is like I haven't written the code for the theme from scratch. So I have taken Pastanaga UI theme and I have made the necessary changes on top of it. Now moving on to the second phase, which is component shadowing. So when we override the package theme, we basically change the look and feel of the semantic UI components. But when we have to change the look and feel of the Volto components, like the complete components such as header, logo, or footer, we use something called as component shadowing. So like this is a very basic example where I have just changed the logo of the page using the logo component. So what here we do is like we just override only that particular piece of code that we want to change. So here we have the on the left hand side we have the original logo component from the Volto. So instead of overwriting the code in the Volto, we have the feature in Volto that we can just create a new folder called customization, and inside that we can redefine that folder with all the necessary changes that we want to see. So with this component shadowing, I was able to change the look and feel of my header, footer, logo, and all those stuff which isn't available to edit through the web. Now moving on to the third part, that is writing Diener style sheet code. So, or which we commonly say as less. So less is backward compatible with CSS, and it has the features such as we can declare variables, mixins, and we can also kind of inherit a particular class, and we can basically nest classes using less. So in my theme, I had to write the code for like nesting all these styles of headers and then category icons. So this, like, making a new theme required me to write a lot of less code. Now moving on to the phase 2. So here we were just trying to make a basically when someone installs a theme, they do not get the data that comes with a block. So we were just trying to make a Plone backend add-on where all the default data will show up while loading the site. But due to some reason, like, I wasn't able to get my Plone backend development environment set, and this whole process like took me like around 2 weeks because of like some Python issue. But I couldn't I like I wasn't able to make it. Like, I have included this slide because like not everything goes according to our plan. So like this was a kind of a blocker, and like it like generally like GSOC is already like too much constrained. It has only a 3-month coding period. So like this uh, could have been done in the like before the coding period. So that is like one learning from this project. Now moving on to the phase 3, which was developing reusable blocks. So the main part of like Volto is blocks. So blocks are just kind of a piece of a UI which users can edit through the web, and they can be added, deleted, modified, or we can change their order. So making a new theme will require like writing a lot of new blocks for our UI. So here we can see like this is a Volto block banner that I have developed, and on the right hand side we have all these fields such as text and button text which is being showcased on the block that we see on the left hand side. So I will just show you like how we can create a block in Volto, like on a very high level. So like every block in Volto must have like two files, which is the view and edit. So view is the view of the block that will be available to the final end user, like how it will look to the final end user. And edit is all for the editors and the developers of the Plone site. So for them we can see like they will be able to see the view as well as the sidebar. So basically this thing that we had developed. And lastly, like every block will have its own style. So this is the styles.less file that I have created for the banner. Now moving on to the sidebar and schema. So like every property that we have defined that is editable, we must define it in a schema. So this is an object in JavaScript, and here we are specifying the key of the field and followed by the title that we want to show in the UI and the type of it. So like here we can see like this enable button, is of the type boolean while text is of the type string. So this schema is basically specifying like how our field, like basically what type of field uh, is a particular prop that we are showcasing. Now we move on to the sidebar portal. On here we have the block data form. So this block data form takes a schema, the same schema like we have specified here, and it will internally render like all the like this sidebar UI. So we don't need to like configure it. This will be like internally handled by the block data form component in Volto. Now the final part of this is to add our block to our config. So like currently like we created the block, we defined its view edit, we defined its less style, then we write wrote the schema, and then we also specified like how should the sidebar look like. But now we have to make Volto aware of our block. So here we are adding our block to the config. So here we are specifying the ID and title, and we specify what component should be displayed in its view and what component should be displayed in its edit part. So here we have the banner view and banner edit, and we can also add permissions, and we can do a lot more thing while we are writing the schema for the block. So now we move on to the phase 3, and here we have the slate and grid. So basically these are the two community add-ons that I use with my theme, and they saved me a lot of development time. So first is the Volto blocks grid by Kit Concept. So basically it helps us to make a one-dimensional grid which can have n number of items. And the best thing about this add-on is like it's mobile responsive. So on the left is like how it shows on a larger screens like our laptops and desktop, and on the right side we have the mobile view. Now we move on to the second add-on, which is the EA Volto Slate. So this is a rich text editor that we can enable instead of the normal one. So the best thing about it is like we can write our own code, like our own style in less, and then we can just simply select it from the drop down. So like for this EDUCAL section heading center, I have just defined my own less style, like what should be the font size and all, and I can reuse the style through the web without making any code changes. Now moving on to the last phase, which was the documentation phase. And like during the documentation phase we had to, like I have written all the documentation, and then the code review was there, and then finally we published the packages to the npm registry. So now I will show you the final work product demo. So I will quickly switch to the Volto site. This is the site. So let's start from the top. So on the header we have the navigation. On navigation we have two level of nesting. So like on clicking on courses, I can see like the all the pages it has. Currently it has course details and course pricing. So if I click on course pricing, this is the course pricing page. So currently it is empty, but we can configure it as per our requirement. Here we have the hero section. So this entire whole view is the hero block. Then we have this heading which I created using EA Volto Slate, and following it we have like 3 rows. So each row has been created using the grid, and like each item of the grid has a category block in it. So this first row is a grid and it has 3 items. Similarly, in the banner area block we have a grid which has 2 items. Following this, we have the course section. This course section is a tabular section, so it has two tabs, lifestyle and finance. So each tab has a different data that is coming. So again, this is like using the Volto grid, and I'm dividing it into three equal parts. And for like the first two, I'm showing it a uh, a course block. Yeah. So like again here we have three course block that I'm showing. Similarly is the case with this row. Following it, we have the event section. So this is a Volto event, and it is basically a custom event listing that I have implemented. So you can see like all this data is being coming from the event page itself. You can see here, and we can move on to the pricing section. So this pricing section is again tabular. It has two tabs, one for monthly plan and the other for the annual plan. So here you can see the pricing, and it has a CTA button. Finally, we have the pre-footer block. So this is like a banner block that has been placed just above our footer. Again, it also has a call to action button. On the bottom we have our footer. Here we can code our social handles, or we can change the uh, items that we want to show in this list. So now I will log in. Yeah, so now I will show you like how much customizable this site is. So for example, we can change the value of this text, like everything we see on the screen. We can enable or disable the button. We can also change this image if we want. So let me just put this maybe. Yeah, so we can change these images, and like this whole block is totally customizable. So it is available as a separate add-on. So in the collective slash Volto EDUCAL hero block, we are able to access this block. And then again moving on to the theme. So here I will show you like how I've created it. So this is one grid, and I have not written a headline, and inside of this grid I have three blocks. So these are my blocks. I can also add a new block if I want, and I can also remove a block if I want. So like this has been created using a grid, and like again this grid has the educal teaser block which has some fields that are customizable. So now moving on to the uh, basically our core section. So again this is a tab. So in tab we have the option to add a new tab, and here we have the again a grid. So this is a grid, and this is also a grid. So in this grid again I have added one course block for each item of the grid. Now moving on to the event listing. So in the event listing I have basically add a criteria of type matches an event, so such that only events are being displayed here. Again you can see like I have added divider blocks just to increase the spacing between the elements. So this is the heading, and again we have another tabs, and on each tab we have a grid which is rendering like two items. Finally we have our banner area block. So again like this is also like customizable. I can change the values, or like disable the CTA, or we can change the color if we want, and something like this. So like this is the whole product tour. So like this last block is also available separately here, so we can like access it in any project. And like this whole site, and like you can find the documentation of each block basically in the main repository. So here like we have the documentation for like each of the block, like what fields are there, and what how we can customize it. So this will be the product tour, and now I will switch back to the slides. So after the final work product demo, let's move to the next slide. For any questions, you can use the main_track1 text channel on Discord. So if you have access to this PPT, you can check out my contribution. So under the collective organization, I have Volto EDUCAL theme, which is the main repository of the theme. Then I have two blogs that are available separately, like the Volto blog banner and the Volto EDUCAL hero blog. Apart from it, I have the community post that I have created, the GSOC archive on the GSOC website, and finally there is one video that I have uploaded which showcases like how you can build the page that I showed you in the talk. So like by default it will come without any blocks, so it just showcases like how you can create those blocks. So like this is the screenshot of the final Zoom meeting that I had with my mentors. So like I am extremely grateful to Kim, Nilesh and Jakob for like helping me so much in like everything, and like like for giving me the opportunity to work on this project. So Mercy, thank you, Danke, gracias for like giving me the opportunity to present this talk in Plone conference. And you can like connect to me on Twitter at avi18 tweets, and on GitHub at avimishra18.
Okay. Thank you, Avi, to make this video for us. And so I think it's time for the dinner break. Ah, Discord? Discord? I don't know. C'est pas sur Discord? I think question is on Discord channel. I don't know. Fantastic word. I don't know. Avi is not there on the Discord, so I think we ask question and he answer later on Discord. Okay.